Growing an audience by creating and sharing content is all well and good, but if your followers don't know what your business sells, then what's the point? Because creating content helps you to achieve so much. It tells people who you are, what your business is, what you stand for, what your opinions are, how you can help people, your personality, and so much more. But are you fully utilising all those outcomes? Sometimes we get a little bit too carried away pursuing just one of those content outcomes, for example, chasing engagement. Now, creating and sharing content is a powerful way to build relationships and gain trust with your audience, and something all content creators should be making the most of. So after all, strong audience connections are what lead to sales of your products and or services. But for that to happen, you also need to be actively telling your audience what your business is, what your products or services are, and how they can access them. Now, I'm not saying that your content should be all salesy, far, far from it. Pushy content that just aims to sell products and services isn't going to grab the attention of your audience. And if that's the only type of content you create, it probably won't grow an audience at all. There needs to be a balance. Your content should definitely be engaging and encourage people to interact with your brand, but you also need to be upfront about what your business does, what your products and services are. Otherwise, you'll have a huge following with no revenue coming in the door. And ultimately, you're running a business. You're not just creating content for fun. Now, I've been guilty of this for sure. When I first started creating content, I was really obsessed with adding value. Helping people with their content repurposing was the aim of the game. And it was only when someone in a mastermind that I was in pointed out to me that they loved listening to my podcast, but I never mentioned what we do as a business. And that really got me thinking. This person who mentioned this to me said, you really should tell people how they can work with you and how you can help them. He said, I actually don't know what you do. And that was a massive wake-up call for me. And from that point onwards, I always mention in my podcast episodes what we do as a business, and I make sure that's clear in the social media content that we put out as well. Now, I know I wasn't alone with this issue. I think people often get lost when it comes to creating content, especially for social media. Business owners get swept up in vanity metrics such as likes and comments and followers and chase that next viral post at any cost. And don't get me wrong, going viral and wanting to increase your engagement can be beneficial to getting the word out there about you and your brand. But you have to be careful not to lose sight of who you're actually trying to target. Favouring engagement from the masses rather than your ideal client isn't a strong business strategy. So if you only ever get engagement on posts like, if you were an animal, what would you be? Are the people who engage with that your ideal clients? Are they likely to want to be your client? And the answer is probably no. For example, I know a business coach who will always post content like that, asking simple questions for engagement and sharing motivational quotes and things like that. But when it comes to the sale, when this person wants people to sign up to high-ticket masterminds, the audience built on social media, the people who respond to all of these posts, are not the extremely busy high 6 and 7 figure business owners that they want to become their client. There's a total disconnect between audience and ideal client. So it's not enough to just post your content and see what happens. You need to be thinking critically about the responses you get and adjusting your content accordingly. So remember, it's not always about the amount of followers you have, but the quality of them. Just think about it this way. If you have 100,000 followers and only 10 are interested in your products or services, your content just isn't doing the right job. But if you have 100 followers and 50 of those are dedicated loyal buyers, then your content is clearly doing something right. But I get that it can be really scary to start sharing more about your products and services because nobody wants to come across as salesy. It's normal to feel apprehensive about what changing your strategy could do for your following. So here are some ways you can tell people about your business without being pushy. Firstly, explain the next steps and use calls to action. If people are really engaging with your content, tell them what action they should take next. A call to action is a simple and non-intrusive way to move people from one content type to another, or even straight to your product or service. This is really easy to do if you're already repurposing your content. So say you've created a teaser video from your YouTube video. Your call to action could be to get people to go and watch the full length video on YouTube. And in that video, you could get the people to check out a product that you've mentioned, keeping your audience moving between your content and only telling them about the products when it's relevant and it's useful for them. Be clear what you do. Don't shy away from your products or services. Weave them into your content if you can. And this is easily done if your messaging matches your brand. For example, I talk about content and repurposing because I run a content repurposing agency. It never comes across as forced when I'm talking about the services that we offer, because it feeds into my entire brand image and it's where my company's messaging comes from. So if your messaging doesn't align with your products and services, it's going to be more of a shock for your audience. So take a look and see how you can line them up a bit better. And be intentional. I always say create content with repurposing in mind, but you should also create content with your products and services in mind. If you intentionally create content with a clear pathway back to your products and services, you're creating a funnel for your audience to follow along. And like I said before, guessing what your audience will engage with is a short-sighted strategy, but planning out a journey from the first piece of content they engage with through your content funnel and ending at your product or service is the best way to lead your audience to buy from you and helps you consider all the repurposing opportunities along the way. So don't keep your products and services a secret. Use your content to get the word out there and build your business as well as your audience.